I'd like to take just a minute here to welcome everybody. Thanks for coming out tonight, and hopefully that we all share a great evening tonight. I know that we're all counting on a great meal, and again, this has been very generously provided by our partners from Bruce Power, and I'd just like to introduce them. At the time, it's James Goniak from, he's the Vice President of Corporate Affairs. James. Possibly more of you are more familiar with Francis Chua. He's been here. Of course, Dr. Sherry Lee Beach. Thank you so much for providing a meal tonight and for your presence here, and we look forward to comments from, I'm not just too sure whether it's going to be James or Francis tonight, but somebody is going to be speaking at any rate. At this time, I would just like to, where do they go here? I'm sure everybody is aware that how the partnership came to be with Bruce Power and the Lake Erin Fishing Club. And if it hadn't been for one person in particular, namely Francis Chua, it probably wouldn't have come about as the way that it has. So we just want to extend our thoughts and prayers to Francis, to all the Canadian Filipino citizens that have been devastated by that typhoon that went through the Philippines in the last few days. Certainly I don't know whether you were touched personally with family over there or not, but certainly our prayers and thoughts go out to the people of the Philippines at this time. So. Here, here. Here, here. Other than that, I'm not going to take up a whole lot of time because I know everybody's anxious to partake of the supper. So if we could just bow our heads for a word of blessing, and then we'll figure out which table is going to go first. So our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for everyone here tonight, and we ask your blessing upon the hands that have provided this meal and for those that have prepared it. Heavenly Father, we give thanks that we have the privilege of living in this beautiful country, and that you have chosen us to take care of your valuable resources. And we just ask that you bless this food for our use and us in thy service. And also, dear Lord, that if you could provide us all with safe transport home so that we can all have happy memories of this meeting. So without further ado, we're going to start the meal line with Bruce Power's table back at the back there. And then we'll just continue up around this way. So, all right, thank you. Certainly should have had their fill tonight. It was an excellent meal, and I know I certainly enjoyed it, and a positive plus. I managed not to slop down the front of my shirt, so. And I just wonder if we could get the ladies who did the prep work and all that, all the hard work back in the kitchen, to come out, and we'll give them a little round of applause for thanks. If we can get them to come out, please. behalf of the Lake Huron Fishing Club and everyone here tonight, I just wanted to say a special thank you to the ladies who did all the hard work in the kitchen there tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We've done it for you, and we've enjoyed doing it. Somebody wants to come up to 6 and clean out my oven, though I boiled about 4 pies over, so I
Carmen will be over.
Yeah, Carmen will be over. I gotta get the smoke detector to shut off. Anyway, thank you, and Merry Christmas to everybody.
All right, carrying on, I just want to draw everybody's attention to the back of the room there where the aquarium is set up. I'm sure everybody's had a look at it by now, but just so you know, this is an example of what how the school hatchery program looks when it's set up in a school. And this is a brand new setup, I believe, with all new cooler and whatnot. And from what I understand, we have 17 schools currently this year, up from 10 last year.
15 right now.
15 right now.
And going up hopefully to 17.
And going up to 17. And apparently we've got a couple of schools that were unable to run the program this year because of renovations in the building and teachers that have moved, and they weren't able to find someone who would take the responsibility of the program on. But we're still expanding, and it's a very excellent program, a learning tool for the children in the area to take advantage of. And if it wasn't for the financial aid from Bruce Power, we wouldn't be able to provide this opportunity for the children. So thank you again for Bruce Power. Just while I'm speaking about the aquarium, I want to say a special thanks to Al Wilkins. I understand that Al brought the aquarium up and got it set up this afternoon for the display here tonight. Thanks, Al. Appreciate it. And I think at this time I'll get James Soniak.
Remember I said cognac.
Cognac?
What was cognac?
Well, I knew I would trip over it, but
No,
anyway.
thanks. Great.
Anyway, James from, he's the Vice President of Corporate Affairs at Bruce Power, and he's here to say a few words right now. So,
Great.
Thank you, James.
Great. Well, thanks very much. I mean, no one gets my last name right, so I'm great about that. You know, I was actually a little bit worried coming for dinner tonight because I'm allergic to fish. So I wasn't sure if I should stop at McDonald's on the way. I was in London earlier, so but Francis said, "Oh no, I don't think you're having fish." But it was Lake Huron Fishing Club. You probably have fish as much as you can. So anyway, the dinner was great, and I just want to echo the comments to the folks who put that on. I don't want to take too much of your time tonight, but I think the folks wanted me to give. I don't want to say a Bruce Power update, but a bit of a sense on sort of what the company is up to and why we're advancing initiatives like the one with the Lake Huron Fishing Club. But just before I do that, just by a show of hands, I'm just really curious, how many people in this room either work at or are retirees or pensioners from Bruce Power? Show of hands. Okay. Normally we get a different ratio than that.
No, we fish.
Yeah, that's right. Well, your pension's in good hands. You know, I just kind of wanted to take sort of a bit of kind of a step back, 10,000 foot, and just kind of, you know, I gave an update today to the Southwest Economic Alliance in London, and it was really amazing to me that mayors of big cities very close to us in the area, whether it be, you know, Windsor, London, how surprised they were about, you know, what takes place here in Bruce County when it comes to the electricity sector. And just before I came in here tonight, I checked, we have an app now on our BlackBerry. You know, right now in the province of Ontario, Bruce Power, just down the street, we're producing about 40% of Ontario's electricity from that facility right there. It's absolutely phenomenal. And as I talked to people today in London about the role we play in Ontario outside of just producing electricity, I kind of gave people a handful of facts that just absolutely amazed them. the group in London that I talked to was shocked that that is the largest operating nuclear facility in the world. It's actually, if you look at Ontario over the last 10 years, it's the single largest site of investment that has taken place in the entire province on one project, $7 billion, just right down the road. It's absolutely unbelievable. And if you look at what we plan to do over the next 25 years, it'll actually be a site which will attract about $12 billion of investment. And when you say these numbers quickly, they kind of come out easily, but it's a lot of money. And the reason why I kind of bring those things up is because it's pretty obvious that as a business, we want to produce reliable electricity for people in the province, low cost, and that's what we do. And if you look at your electricity bill today, some of the lowest cost electricity you'll get on your bill comes from that site just down the road. And that's very important for us to remind people of because it's the center of our business. On the other hand, we also want to play a positive role in the province with jobs and investment and all those things I just talked about. But over the last 10 years though, we've seen a major change in energy across the country, across North America, and across the world. And no more is it good enough, if I can say that, to just produce electricity affordably and have a positive contribution to the economy. There's an expectation among the public and among government, in particular, and even the investment community, that you're an environmentally progressive organization. And I think we've seen how that whole environmental concern has really changed things in Ontario over the last 10 years. And if you go back 20 years ago, when that site, and many people remember when that site was virtually half shut down with Bruce A closed. Throughout the 1990s in the province, we required coal power to meet about 30% of our electricity needs. Today, by the end of the year, it'll be zero. So, the single largest environmental initiative in the country actually happened down that street. Because Bruce Power, just down the street, is responsible for actually displacing 70% of the coal that we had in Ontario when it was at peak. You've seen a major, and it's not that it's not without its controversy, you've seen a major expansion of renewables, whether it's solar or wind. So you can see that there's a trend towards people not only wanting that electricity, but they want it environmentally in an environmentally sustainable way. So that's what I think brings our partnership together. Because obviously we produce electricity that doesn't emit greenhouse gas emissions, but we do, like any industrial operation, we do have an interaction with the environment. Whether it's with the, whether it's, if you look at our, the approach we take to cooling, we require a lot of cooling water for our operation. So what we try to do, and what our goal is as an organization, is not just to meet the rules that the Ministry of Environment sets for us, but our goal is to be a sustainable organization and continue to reduce our environmental impact. So a couple of years ago in Bruce Power, under my responsibilities in corporate affairs, we formed a new team called Environment and Sustainability. And what we've done in that group is we basically collapsed our entire environmental function for the site into that organization. And Francis Chu, I know you've worked with, he leads that organization for Bruce Power. And I learned something very early in my career, that the best way to be successful is to hire people smarter than you. And that's what I've done with Francis, Emily, and Sherry Lee, and they're instrumental. I know this partnership, but they do a lot of really good work for our company and driving our sustainability agenda. So as a company, we're not just looking to be compliant, we're looking to strive for excellence. So when we formed this new group, one of the things we had a conversation about was, what are the things that we can do, that are different? What are the ways we can have a positive impact on the environment outside of just changing the things in our operation? And the opportunity of the Lake Erie Fishing Club came up as an idea. So I think Francis reached out to your organization, and when Francis came back and we looked at all of the different things that frankly a volunteer-driven organization does, it was very impressive to us. So it was a very kind of complementary opportunity. you had existing programs that were having an impact both on, both on the environment directly and in education in the community and schools and whatnot. And we had an interest in a company in doing more of that. So we were very successful at securing some modest financial resources to enable that. And we're just in the process of putting together our 2013 sustainability report. Actually, over the last 10 years, we've invested over $1 million in various environmental initiatives in the community, whether it's the Outdoor Education Center up on the peninsula, to initiatives like this, to other things in the classroom. And I think you're going to see Bruce Power focus on that a lot more. Because, as I mentioned, I think people are very supportive of us from the point of view of what we do and the electricity we supply. They like the jobs and the investment, but they also want to be convinced that any energy source is environmentally sustainable. And I don't want to leave you with the impression the only reason why we're doing this is for sort of public relations purposes, because that'd be unfair. I mean, we do a lot of things because it's the right thing to do, and this is the right thing to do. But it's very important that through these stewardship activities, especially in the schools, that we're educating people much younger about environmental issues. So when issues around energy and electricity and various sources like nuclear or wind come up, people are educated enough or informed enough at a younger age that they can make informed decisions. When we ask people across the province what forms of electricity they support, about 75% of people in Ontario support the continued work that we're doing at Bruce Power. So it's not like we're short on public support. But we do find that with younger people in particular, that support just isn't quite as strong. And we think that we need to do a better job of getting in the schools early and educating people about the energy choices that they make and how various energy sources have an impact on the environment. And you're going to see us doing a lot more on that. So that's enough about Bruce Power, but I wanted to give you a bit of business context as to why we're doing this. Of course, it's a great thing. We're happy to support it, but there's also a business context, and I wanted to, as partners in these initiatives, I want to share that with you. I also wanted to congratulate you on 30 years. That's pretty amazing. It's very impressive to me. We get invited to a lot of not-for-profit type community functions throughout Grey Goose and Huron counties. It's actually the fun part of the job for me is getting to go and do that. And it's great to see such a great turnout tonight for your event as well. It just shows the level of support there is. And the level of volunteer activity is also something that's very impressive, that you've been able to, one of the things that was very attractive to me when Francis kind of brought this proposal forward was on a very almost a daily basis, we get funding proposals for things that people want to start doing. And the thing that was very attractive about what your organization brought to the table was that you had a very clear track record of doing it. It was just, we needed to find a way of securing some more support for it. So that's incredibly powerful. I think everybody in the room, the organizers, everybody deserve a lot of credit for building, a pretty impressive organization. I want to congratulate them on their 30th anniversary. So I won't speak much more. I hope that was sort of the type of update you were looking for. But I have one last thing, because the rule is, if you can, you should always come with something to leave behind. So what I have here is and who's the treasurer of is there a treasurer of the organization?
Yeah, Mike.
So Mike's going to be a very happy guy tonight. So now don't tell our chief financial officer this, because this is for next year. I'm supposed to pay money with this year, it's for next year, don't tell him. So what I have here is a $20,000 check as part of our partnership for next year. We'll give you a down payment on it this year, and we look forward to this partnership over the next 3 years. So thanks for having us, and thank you for all the work you do. And we're proud to be a part of this. So thanks for that.
James, I just want to say on behalf of the Lake Huron Fishing Club, thank you very much for your continued support. It's certainly very much appreciated, and definitely programs like the school hatchery program and tree planting and other endeavors that we undertake, they wouldn't happen to the scale that we're now able to do without your help, and it's very much appreciated. And just one thing that I kind of remembered was back when we started this partnership, you asked if we could keep an eye on some of your sensors and probes and such like in the lake. And I just wonder, just by a show of hands here tonight, anybody that was out fishing, did they have any contact with any of the probes or spars or any of the equipment? Brian, you had some? And
Yeah.
I just kind of wondered if, you know, was there anything that you needed to report or like that?
They looked like they were where they were supposed to be, and
Great.
you know, and having the knowledge of how they're set up made it easier.
And I don't know if it's helpful, maybe I can just take a second, 30 seconds to just explain why we're focused on that. There's one, I should have kind of mentioned this, because you guys are very attuned to lake conditions and everything. I mentioned how in Ontario, we've eliminated the use of coal-fired power. And this ties to this, if you let me, I'll get to it in a second, but I'll explain to you how it kind of fits together here and why that was something that Francis really pushed. We've eliminated the use of coal-fired power in Ontario. The challenge that has created is, as you know, coal is a very flexible fuel. You can crank it up, you can crank it down whenever you need it. And nuclear has always been viewed as a type of output that runs 24/7 and it doesn't move. Over the last 5 years at Bruce Power, we've developed what we call a dynamic capability, where about a third of our capacity on site we can move up and down as needed as the market changes. We're the only nuclear facility in Ontario that can do this. And the market really needs that, with coal having exited the market. So the reason why you're going to see, and I really appreciate your work on checking up on those sensors, and you're going to see a lot more thermal monitoring, it's because when we do have those dynamic responses, basically what we do is we do have a heat impact on the lake. So one of the things that's really important to us is we want to provide the province that dynamic capability that they need, but we also have a commitment to do it in a way that doesn't exceed any of our sort of temperature constraints and you know, that we don't have an impact on any valued ecosystem components in Lake Huron. So I think you're going to see actually a lot more of that kind of monitoring, and that's actually in Sherry Lee's area, because you know, we want to monitor that very closely and make sure that everything's within our predictions. But to the extent you see us doing more, I mean, maybe I got kind of a bit techie there because I really like this stuff, but as you can imagine, but that's kind of the reason why we're doing that. And your support's really appreciated. Thanks.
Thanks again, man. Certainly look forward to this continued partnership with Bruce Power, and it'll be nice to have you back at another date sometime. But moving on, now I guess it's time for our awards presentations. And we have our three annual awards that we normally hand out each year. And I don't know, is there any particular order that they normally get, or does it really matter? Or? No? Can't hear you, Harold.
The active member, the new member, the center one should be first.
Oh, okay, all right. So for the most active new member, unfortunately, the person who's the recipient for this award can't be here tonight because of distance. And for those of you who don't know, his name is Eugene Lowe, and he has taken over the newsletter production. He gets up to this area, even though he's from Montreal, lives and works in Montreal. He gets up to the Saugeen whenever he can, and he certainly enjoys the area up here. He's sent us a couple of emails on a couple of his trips, and it's quite evident that he certainly enjoys coming up to fish the Saugeen. Eugene got involved with the Lake Erie Fishing Club through a website posting, and he found out about us and signed up to be a member. And soon after, he expressed an interest in taking over the job of looking after the newsletter, and he's been doing it ever since. And so, without further ado, I'd just like to ask Mike Hahn to come up and accept this award on Eugene's behalf. And I guess Mike is going to have it packaged up and sent out to him. So, on behalf of the club, Mike, Gene's behalf.
And I'll send this down to Eugene in Montreal.
Hang it, you're all.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Moving on, the next one that we're gonna do here is gonna go to a fella who works tirelessly. He's put in a lot of hours. I couldn't even begin to imagine the amount of work that he puts into, the time that he puts in, and one of the biggest driving forces behind the Chantry Chinook Salmon Derby, and that's our own Bert Coons, and that's the award. Remember the Malcolm Campbell Award? So, sorry, which one is it? This one, I think, here. Long way down. So, on behalf of the, get this turned around the right way, sorry, Bert, but there you go. That's on behalf of the club. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's all a team effort.
Sorry about that.
And last but not least, the next award is the Terry Cox Award for Conservationist of the Year. And this is going to a member who's been around for, I think, about 4 years, and he's been involved in the executive for 4 years, and certainly extremely active and certainly very conscientious of conservation issues and that sort of thing. I'd like to ask Mike Hahn to come up and accept the award. That floor gets further away all the time.
Should have done that before supper.
You're right. There you go. Yeah, there you go. I guess we're ready.
I can only smile so loud. Thanks, Eugene. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Very well deserved. All of the awards that we just handed out are definitely very deserved by the people who have received them. They've worked hard for it and certainly very deserving. Okay, next up is Bert. I'm going to ask you to come back up, or who was you going to be your? Oh, Brian. Okay, sorry. Brian Lang is going to come up and do a presentation for the Chantry Committee.
On behalf of the Chantry Chinook Derby, all the guys that put a lot of work into this thing every year, we would like to present the club with a check for $20,000 from the Derby and the boat draw that we had for the special anniversary. Everybody worked real hard. It wasn't a great derby this year because of the weather, and it seems to have been windy ever since. So hopefully it gets out of the system for next year. But I want to thank everybody who supported the Derby, who works for the Derby, and anybody else that's involved with even just buying a ticket. Thank you very much.
Well, Brian, on behalf of the club, thank you very much for that donation. Everybody on the Derby committee works very hard to put it all together. It takes a tremendous amount of dedication and work, and certainly we all thank you for it. So thanks again. All right. And now I'd like to introduce a fellow that most of you know. He's been here before to speak, and he's back again. Jody Shepley from the Ministry of Natural Resources.